The night for a vital part of movie making.
We're here to celebrate the artists who expand.
Tourette syndrome is a disability, and the tics you've heard tonight are involuntary, which means the person who has Tourette syndrome has no control over their language.
I'm saying that everything that happens in a business that's based off of pretend, that seems like a setup is.
BAFTAs humiliated Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, and they do not care about it. As Delroy Lindo already came out and said that no one from the BAFTAs came up to them, apologized for anything, or even said anything about the whole situation.
African-American rappers saying N-word this and N-word that, but a Caucasian can't.
So say it.
Say what?
Say the word you want to say.
I'm not saying that I want to say it, I'm just saying that I can't.
Sure you can.
The BAFTAs N-word controversy just took another turn after Katt Williams stepped in, saying this wasn't some awkward accident. It was a humiliation ritual meant to put black creators back in their place. Because this isn't really about John Davidson, the man with Tourette's who shouted the word at Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. That's the surface story. The real issue is the fact that the BAFTAs were pre-recorded, and they still chose to air it to humiliate them. They had every chance to edit it out and protect those actors from being called that word in front of millions watching at home. It would have still been ugly in the room, but at least it wouldn't have been blasted across the world. So why did they leave it in? Especially when we know they edited out parts. Yeah, well, according to Katt Williams, nothing in the entertainment industry happens by accident. From Justin Timberlake pulling off Janet Jackson's top at the Super Bowl, to Will Smith slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars, and now Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo being called the N-word on a global stage. Katt says this isn't chaos. They're coordinated, orchestrated public humiliation rituals designed to remind everyone exactly who's in control.
I am in the production business. I understand what is worth doing for ratings. I understand what is worth doing when the industry is canceling one black guy. I know what happens when they are going to elevate another. And I know what happens when they don't care about either.
According to Katt, when you're talking about something like the BAFTAs or the Oscars, nothing you see on that stage is random. Nothing is a coincidence. Not only is there way too much money on the line, but also at the end of the day, the entire entertainment industry is one massive propaganda machine built to push specific cultural agendas.
I'm saying that everything that happens in a business that's based off of pretend, that seems like a setup is. It's certain ways things are handled when it's not intentional. When things go smoothly, but they seem chaotic, that means there was forethought and a plan. Somebody, even if it looks like, yeah, Janet Jackson just had a wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, there's no such thing.
Correct.
I don't care who you blaming.
I believe that.
Somebody benefited. Yeah. So in all of these situations, there's a business involved, and there's real money involved, and somebody's benefiting from this thing that looks like, oh, that just happened. Nah, no way.
And if you think that sounds like a reach, it's not. The entertainment industry has always been an extension of political power. The same people pulling strings behind policy have influence over what shows up on your screen. And everything you watch is placed there for a reason to shape perception, to guide emotion, to make you feel exactly what they want you to feel.
Whole industries can be built upon your ability to know how certain things are going to hit certain people. And this was before we called things promotion and marketing. You know what I mean? That's Hollywood is not really there to entertain you. Like, that's great that that happens, but propaganda is something that is important to all civilization.
And when it comes to this BAFTA incident, you can see why a lot of people aren't buying that it was just some random slip-up. According to Delroy Lindo, nobody from BAFTA even pulled him or Michael aside afterward. There was no private apology and no real acknowledgement. They only apologized to the viewers at home, but said nothing directly to the two black actors who were on the receiving end of a slur. Delroy later told Vanity Fair that he and Michael just kept it moving and did their job on stage like professionals. But he also made it clear he wished someone from BAFTA spoke to us afterwards, and only after the public backlash. BAFTA's put out a statement offering a vague apology and saying they will learn from this situation. We take full responsibility for putting our guests in a very difficult situation, and we apologize to all. The BAFTAs said, we will learn from this and keep inclusion at the core of all we do. Maintaining our belief in film and storytelling is a critical conduit for compassion and empathy. sympathy. But pay attention to how even in that so-called apology, they still didn't have the decency to say Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo's names. They were reduced to our guests, but they weren't guests. They were presenters. They were invited there to do a job. That stage was their workplace in that moment, and the organization running it allowed them to be targeted on a global broadcast. And then instead of addressing them directly, they issued a vague statement to the audience at home. And that's what's making people side-eye the whole thing, because when you can carefully edit speeches, control every camera angle, and script every second of a pre-recorded show, but somehow can't manage to directly acknowledge the two black men who were actually affected, that is deliberate. And it's not just people on social media who feel this way. Other actors are speaking up too. Jamie Foxx jumped in with his take, and he didn't sugarcoat it. He called out John Davidson directly and said he clearly meant what he said. Jamie went into the comments under the clip of Davidson shouting the N-word and wrote, "Out of all the words you could have said, Tourette's makes you say that. Nah, he meant Thadish. Unacceptable." Meanwhile, Academy Award-winning production designer Hannah Beecher, who worked on the movie Sinners, said that Jonathan shouting the N-word was not an isolated incident, and she wrote on X, "I keep trying to write about what happened at the BAFTAs, and I can't find the words. The situation was almost impossible, but it happened 3 times that night, and one of the 3 times was directed at me on the way to dinner after the show." But here's where the whole thing starts looking even sketchier. It just came out that John Davidson had a microphone placed directly in front of him when he shouted that word. The BAFTAs knew he has Tourette and involuntary tics, and they still positioned him right by an active mic. And somehow, at the exact moment to black music men are standing on stage, that's when the N-word gets shouted. What are the odds? Like Katt said, these shows are mapped out down to the second. Camera angles are planned. Music audio is controlled. There's too much money involved and too much at stake for things to just happen. So when people say all of this is just an unfortunate coincidence, that's a hard sell, because the deeper you look, the less accidental it feels. And then when you read John Davidson's apology, it gets even weirder. John issued a statement saying, "I am and always have been deeply mortified if anyone considers my involuntary tics to be intentional or to carry any meaning. I wanted to thank BAFTA and everyone involved in the awards last night for their support and understanding and inviting me to attend the broadcast. I appreciated the announcement to the auditorium in advance of the recording, warning everyone that my tics are involuntary and are not a reflection of my personal beliefs." So once again, no mention of Michael B. Jordan or Delroy Lindo by name. John didn't specifically apologize to the black men who were actually impacted. His statement talked around it, referenced his condition, and explained the context, but it didn't acknowledge Michael or Delroy in any real way. Now, no one expects someone to apologize for having Tourette's, but the point is basic accountability. When your actions, intentional or not, cause harm to someone, especially on a global stage, the bare minimum is to address the people affected by name. And for a lot of people watching, that just adds to the feeling that this wasn't handled like a genuine mistake. And some are taking it even further and arguing there's a pattern of black public figures being embarrassed, disrespected, or put in degrading situations during Black History Month. One user on X wrote, "Go back year by year. You will see a humiliation ritual for blacks every Black History Month." 2026 BFTAs. In 2018, black students in multiple schools role-played up slaves. 2019 Jesse's exposure. 2020 Virginia Governor Ralph Northam's blackface was divulged. 2022 NYC schools chicken and waffles day. 2023 ugly MLK statue in Boston that looks like a turd was the 2023 unveiled, etc. I've missed some, but this is off the top of my head. I've been trying to warn black people about this for years. Brace for February impact, but only now do I think people are ready to hear it. Black History Month was a deal with the devil. You get the outward public messaging of priority, but behind the scenes, the hidden hand is making mockery. The exoteric/theateric. They effing with you, man. But I want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you agree with Katt Williams that this was a planned humiliation ritual? And what about this Black History Month theory? Is it just a coincidence or something deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't miss the next video out there.